So now let us go to the core of the issue, the business model canvas. What is a business model canvas? Well, simply there I have a business model canvas is a simple document that helps you to brainstorm or to open up ideas, to get so many creative ideas for your business model. So in other words, a business model canvas is a template that you can use to enlarge your idea. And so it no longer stays as that island of an idea in your mind, but it becomes something bigger that you have to work with. This is how it looks. A business model canvas has 9 different sections, as you can see, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I numbered them this way because of a particular pattern I want to follow in this lesson. Different people will teach differently. Different business mentors would teach differently on how you should approach a business model canvas. But for me, the way I numbered are the ways that I am going to take them. For example, let me take you through the segments. Number 1 segment is the customer segment. That is where I'm going to begin the lesson from. And then number 2 is the value proposition. Number 3 is the channels. Number 4, the customer relationships. Number 5, the revenue streams. Number 6, the key activities. Number 7, the key resources. Number 8, the key partners. And number 9, the cost structure. Now, some people will tell you that you should start with the value proposition. In fact, up until late last year, I've always been teaching the business canvas starting with the value proposition number 1. But then I now see more reasons why you should actually start with the customer segment. One of my colleagues called me the other day and said, you can start the canvas with number 8, the key partners, if you can identify what partners and then this and that. Now, I think that there is no absolutely right or wrong way to start using the canvas. You just need to understand the canvas and the way it suits your business for you to be able to know that this is the place I'm going to start. But for this lesson, and so far for the businesses I have mentored and also for my business, I choose to start with number 1, the customer segment. So what is the customer segment? Well, the customer segment tells you who exactly your customer is. And emphasis on the word exactly. Who exactly are your customers? One of the biggest and most fatal assumptions we make about business is that everybody is my customer. Another assumption, which is sister to that, is that once I get my product out there, the whole world will love it. And these assumptions are horrible. They're very costly and they are horrible assumptions, because more often than not, you get out there as an entrepreneur with your product and you're wondering, nobody is willing to buy this. You have products with you in your store, but nobody's willing to buy your product. So what do you do next? I had a first-hand experience of this when I wrote my first book, Do It Like Kids, and I discovered that I had in my mind this wide opinion of who my customer is going to be. At the end of the day, I did not have any customer because I thought everybody was going to be my customer. So I did not zero in, I did not choose who exactly my customer is. So who exactly is your customer? You're selling poultry eggs. Who exactly are you selling your poultry eggs to? We often generalize too broadly who our customer is, and this is very harmful for our ventures. More often than we care to note, we need to consider who our customer is from a more narrow perspective. We may need to consider things like gender. Are we selling to males, females, or to everybody, or to males and females? Are we selling to a particular age group, an economic status, a particular religion, a geographic location, marital status, and so on and so forth? What exactly are we selling to, or who exactly, beg your pardon, are we selling to? You must be able to sift through the customer base and decide that this particular customer is the customer segment I am trying to sell to. The goal of the customer segment is to zero in, like I said earlier, on who exactly your customer is. Number 2, the value proposition. This is the central point, the home base, the axis, if you may, the fundamental thing of why we are doing business. The value proposition is the core, it is what lies in the heart of your business. Everything that you do in your business revolves around the value proposition, and so that is what makes it very important. And that's the reason why many teachers would say that you should start with your value proposition, what exactly you're trying to sell. So it is that powerful. What exactly are you selling to people? That is what your value proposition is. The needs of the specific customer segment you are trying to satisfy. And so if you're trying to satisfy people of a particular religion, you automatically have to identify that core. what exactly are you trying to sell to the people of this religion? Because you know that the moment you transfer that same product to a different religious group, you will not be able to sell based on the value that you had for the earlier religion. So that is how critical this is. Identifying your customer, and then number 2, moving to the value proposition. What exactly are you selling? Sometimes we make the assumption of thinking that we're selling a particular product, while wise entrepreneurs know that they're selling something completely different, something intangible. For example, you can sell exotic wine to someone and just consider that you are selling him a bottle of wine. But a wise entrepreneur knows that he's actually selling something else intangible, something like prestige, or he's selling a way of feeling like a man for buying and drinking from that bottle. So that is basically the value proposition. I would like to state here that it is important that you understand that you should have a particular value for each of your customer segments. So let us say, for example, that you are selling poultry products, eggs. Now you might have identified your customer segments as people below the age of 45 and then people above the age of 45. So you see, you now have 2 different segments for your customers. Each of the values that you will sell to these customers are completely different, although you're selling the same product. For the ones that you are selling below the age of 45, you may be selling things like high protein content. But for the ones that you're selling above the age of 45, who you know are more critical about their health status, you may be selling low cholesterol eggs to them. Basically, you have the same product on the outward, but you're selling 2 different values to them. So that means that you should have a unique value for your unique segments. Don't make the mistake ever of assuming that you're selling the same thing to everybody. Distribution channels are the processes of making your product or your service available to your customer. How will your customer get your product? You have a product or you have a service, but how will your customer get that product? You know, this is one of the most difficult hurdles for entrepreneurs to scale, because you have a book, like I mentioned earlier. How will your customers get that book? Is it favorable? The method you want them to get that book, is it a favorable one for them? Now, not for you, but does it favor them? For example, one of the biggest challenges I've seen selling books in Nigeria is trying to scale that idea of selling an ebook. So far, ebooks are not as popular as hard copy books are in the country. And you know, the challenge is that traditionally we think that if I'm giving money in exchange of something, it should be something I can hold, something tangible. And I'm pretty sure that most people that sell intellectual property have this same challenge, because they finish investing their creative time and their energy, and the customer is thinking, come on, what did you even do in the first place that you're expecting this amount of money from me? You know, IT professionals and anybody in the line of intellectualism and creativity and innovation would identify what I'm saying. So how do you send your services or your product in a way that they will be able to beat it and take advantage of it? Which channels are working best for you and which ones are not working? Are you spending so much on channels to a point that you're no longer making sufficient money at the end of the day? So that is what your distribution channel is. Your ways of getting your products and your services to your customers. Then number 4 is our customer relationships. And customer relationships try to answer the question of what are the relationships that you're having with your customer as a result of doing business with the person. You know, you're doing business with human beings, so do not assume that there are no relationships. There are definitely relationships, even if your customers are people you do not have direct contact with or you do not know them in person. But note that you're doing business with human beings and human beings have feelings, and because of that, there are relationships. Now, in customer relationships, you have to know that the type of relationship, and this is what makes it important, determines your approach to the people. So if your customer considers you to be a friend and you completely relate to that customer as a mass customer or just merely a work colleague, along the line there will be friction. You know, that person would pull away from being a customer merely because he or she is not on the same page with you. So what are the forms of relationships that your business is creating between you and your customer? Are they social group members? Are they personal acquaintances? Are they mass customers? Or are they work colleagues? And there are many different forms other than these ones that I've listed that still talks about customer relationships. And then number 5, revenue streams. Many people will tell you that you are in business to make money, and that is majorly true. Revenue streams focuses on the specific ways that money will come into your business. Is it going to be through your sales, or it's going to be through contracts, or it's going to be through subscriptions? What are the ways that people are going to give money to you. It is any way that money comes into your business. It is the way that customers choose to pay you for the value that you've added to them. Revenue streams also focus on how much specific streams contribute to the overall revenue of your business. And let me state something here to show you the link between customer value proposition, relationships, and then revenue streams. You have a particular customer segment and you have a particular value proposition that you're giving to that customer segment, and in line with that, they should give you a particular means or a particular stream that revenue comes into your business. Particular customer segment, particular value proposition, and a particular means that money is coming or streaming into your business through servicing that particular customer base. Number 6, key activities. Like I said earlier, key activities are those things that you must do if you're going to succeed in business. So what are those important things? Key activities are those activities that the value proposition requires. And if you want to have an idea of that, you should focus on your distribution channels. For example, if you're a caterer, you need to deliver your goods to your customer at the end of business or to round up the business. You may be looking at activity like transportation. Or if you're a farmer, you may be looking at activities like preparing the ground, getting fertilizers. What are the key activities that you need to do for you to serve your customer segments with the value proposition that you have? Number 7, the key resources. Key resources, as the name implies, basically talks about the important things that you need for your business to succeed. For example, a poultry farmer will be focusing on resources like feed, resources like equipment, resources like crates. So those are some basic things that a poultry farmer is going to focus on. So we have different types of key resources. We have physical, intellectual. For example, you may need somebody with a particular skill that knows how to do a particular thing for your own type of business. We also have human and financial resources. So what exactly are those resources that you need to make your business succeed? And then key partners. I mentioned earlier that no human being is an island to himself. Which of your suppliers and partners are sourcing your key resources? What type of partnership would suit your needs? What impact will your partners have on your clients? Are there partners that you have that your clients will refuse to do business with you because you're doing business with that person? So what are your key partners? Who are the people that are helping you to do business, without whom your business is not going to be as successful as you are hoping that it will be? And then finally, number 9, the cost structure. The cost structure describes all the cost that is needed for you to run business successfully. There are 2 forms of costs when it comes to business. There is the fixed one, things like rent. These are things that hardly change. You're going to pay rent, you're going to pay salaries. You have utilities like electricity and your water and some other things, and you also have taxes. These are fixed costs. But then we also have one that is variable, and from the name you'll see that it is a cost that varies with the level of input. For example, wage based on commission, which means there are times where your salespeople hit a particular target and then you give them an extra wage for hitting that target. So that's variable. Some other days they will not hit the target and you're not going to give them that. ATM fees, subscriptions for your SMSs, etc. Some of these things are variable costs that are not fixed. So these are the things that you really need to focus on if you're trying to pull out your cost structure.